Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Tracy's Takes. Sorry for the delay, but I am going to be doing a full spoiler review of the movie The Gorge, finally, on Apple TV. Uh, Again, sorry for the delay. I know I should have had this movie out a couple days ago. Just a brief overview of what we do here on the channel. We discuss movies and TV shows. Uh, we talk about, or I talk about what I thought about the show or movie. And give you a better understanding about my opinion on the movie or show, and then maybe better inform you on whether or not you want to give it a shot. Uh, so let's just dive right in here. Let's get to the things that I thought The Gorge did well. First, the CGI was great. Uh, all the you really at certain points in the movie, you really can't tell, did they really use these things or was this CGI? They spent a great deal on CGI in the movie for sure. The cinematography was good. You really can't tell. I mean, the blend was great. You can't tell if when they used shot on location and when it was CGI back green screen. It was almost flawless. Did a good job there. They did a good job making you interested in what's going on at the Gorge and a little bit of the backstory about the two characters. This really is honestly a two-character movie. It spends a lot of time just with these two characters, but you can kind of get that implication from the trailer as well. Honestly, that's kind of all I got for good stuff. Just to be honest, there were a lot of things about this movie that I didn't like. You can really tell why Apple decided not to push this theatrically. And I was confused about that at first when I watched the trailer. I was like, this looks good. I don't understand why Apple didn't invest, the 20-30 million to go ahead and give this a push for theatrical release. After watching it, boy, I can tell you, I know why. Not a horrible movie. Not a horrible movie. It just isn't great. And not all movies have to be great. So let me just tell you, I don't go into a movie thinking if it's not great, then it's horrible, it's awful. No, it's just not. It's not a great movie. The dialogue feels very forced. Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller, although in their own right, they're both great actors, their chemistry isn't there. It doesn't feel flawless. It doesn't feel right. It feels icky. Like when they do their scenes together, it really feels like I don't know who they should have cast differently, but those two just didn't fit for me. The action was pretty good in the movie. It really was. There was not a lot of it, but when it happened, you were fully engaged. Like you were like almost on the edge of your seat. So they did a good job with the action for sure. That was one of the big points of the movie the highlights of the movie was, wow, they really took it there with the action. The CGI blended with the action was really good. Great fight choreography for sure. The movie had a real Last of Us kind of annihilation kind of feeling to it. The basic premise, and you get this from the trailer, is there's these two, let's call them covert agents for the sake of just making it one unified thing. They get assigned to these outposts or overseeing or watching over this gorge. And you find out throughout the movie that there's a reason why they have people there. And you also find out through a pretty clever backstory that they've been protecting or watching this gorge, not them in particular, but there's been a series of watchers every year since back in the 1940s. You find out later on that it was an experiment gone wrong, and that you don't know at first what they are, but you kind of get the feeling they're human like, and then you find out why towards the end that there was an experiment that kind of through a bunch of tropes, they kind of fused DNA with human and plant and animal DNA by accident, and people who get infected kind of merge partly with whatever they're around. That wasn't horrible. it just, it was fine. It was fine. Um, there were a couple of points in the movie that made me scratch my head. Um, like I said, it was, you can tell why they kind of just decided, let's just drop this on streaming. There were a couple of decisions that were made in the movie that just don't feel realistic at all. The one of the, not opening, but pretty early on in the movie, you figure out that they're not supposed to talk to each other. And they are a considerable distance away from each other as well. The Anya Taylor-Joy's character, she decides, breaking the rules, she's going to write on this sheet of paper, this long sheet of paper. She shoots a gun, you see it in the trailer, gets his attention, he reads it. They communicate that way. They go back and forth through paper or some version of it. My very first question when that started happening is, how does she know he speaks English? Because all you get from the movie is that he knows that this Western side, but that doesn't mean that, what if he's French? What if he's Spanish? What if he's from Portugal? I mean, you just don't know. But anyway, then there's this scene where they have a toast for her birthday, and your brain kind of asks the question, how do they do this? Because of course they're communicating, they're seeing each other through these high def, mega zooming binoculars. It's a station at each location, and then they have a birthday toast, but then how do you pour the glass, take the drink, and but neither here nor there. Then there's this part in the movie where they're like, that just happens to be this modern style computer down here in the gorge that was just left. He clicks the button, it still works magically, and then also magically, there's no password. It just logs in. He can go through and look at all these secure files. It's just like I mentioned, the action is good. The action is the highlight of the movie. The action is great. The CGI is great. The cinematography is great. It's just enough in this movie to make you okay to watch it. Like, you're like, that was a fun 2 hours. But I wouldn't say that it's a great movie by any stretch of the means. Like I said, it has a real Last of Us Annihilation kind of feel with the entities in the gorge. And once you watch the movie, if you haven't, I hope you have. If you're rewatching this video, hope you have. The characters have that feel. So if you watch that movie or that TV show, then there's a familiarity. They're like, oh yeah, that kind of looks like The Last of Us. But all in all, if I had to give it a Tracy score, I would say it's probably a 3 out of 10, stretching 3.5 out of 10. It's just not. There's just so much stupid stuff that happens in the movie that you're like, God, this could have been a great movie, but they just made some bad choices. And you can tell the budget was pretty decent in this movie, but obviously there was some script issues, there was some chemistry issues, and the powers that be at Apple had to see it too, because they didn't think it was worth dropping or pushing for a theatrical release. But it is good enough if you have some downtime, if you just want to kill 2 hours and you want a fun little movie that's not gonna, not gonna knock your socks off, it's not gonna wow you or anything. But if you just want a fun 2 hours with some nice action-packed scenes and some big stars in it, hey, this is the movie for you. I have received a few requests to review some movies. My first one was from Levi. Shout out to Levi, by the way. He requested I review a movie. I had a few since then. I think what I'm going to do, because these requests that I'm getting are for movies that are not like new, they're not like new TV shows, I'm going to review them. Full disclosure, if I feel like I don't want to review it, then I just won't. But if the ones that I do, I'm thinking I'm going to subcategorize those for you guys and have a separate section on my channel that just has like a so you can go straight to the older. I'm gonna come up with a clever name for it, but you'll be able to see it. I'll update you when I set that up. But thank you for watching. I will see you guys on the next episode, and until next time, take care.